All right, and we are live on YouTube as well.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're gonna just hold on for a few more minutes and let people join, and then we will start with our wonderful guest for today, Desiree Frieson.
Hello, hello.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're just gonna give 1 or 2 more minutes to let folks join. Thank you. Okay, I think we're gonna begin. Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Janine Gilbert, and I'm the Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer, as well as the Chief MWBE Officer for OTI, which is New York City's Office of Technology and Innovation. In honor of Women's History Month and actually to begin our Women's History Month speaker series, I'm thrilled to welcome Desiree Frieson, Director of Programming for a dynamic organization called Build in Tulsa. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our distinguished guest for today. Desiree has spent the last decade helping startup founders succeed. An entrepreneur herself, she's worked at a variety of nonprofits before launching programming at Blackstone Launchpad at New York University, and then leading operations and programming for NY Designs as the assistant director. Born and raised in Queens, New York, shout out to New York, Desiree moved to Tulsa in 2021 to help build the infrastructure for entrepreneurial success in the home of Black Wall Street. Welcome, Desiree.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. And as a native New Yorker now in Tulsa, I'm thrilled to be doing this and as you launch your Women's History Speaker Series.
Now, before we start, I'm not sure that everyone knows about Black Wall Street. Could you just tell us a little bit about what Black Wall Street was?
Yeah, so Black Wall Street in the 1900s was a economic boom for Black entrepreneurs right here in Oklahoma. And so when you thought of Black businesses, small businesses, Black ownership of restaurants, hotels, theaters, doctors' offices, you name it, it was right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the Greenwood district. However, in the 1900s, in 1921, there was a race massacre that devastated our community and devastated our business community and also our residential homes. And so Black Wall Street, which was thriving for over 20 years prior to the massacre, has had multiple rebuilding efforts. However, through the work of Build in Tulsa and our partners, Black Wall Street, we are reimagining what Black Wall Street is today. And we know that innovation and technology and entrepreneurship is the way to reclaim what we once had.
Wow, that's wonderful. So, as you said, I understand you're a New Yorker. Can you please tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are?
Yes. So it's my background is actually very mixed. And so when I went to college, I went to a small liberal arts college in Dover, Delaware, which is now part of Delaware State University. But I always wanted to be the Black female version of Steven Spielberg. And so I went to film school. And after college, I got my first job in film. I worked for media production as a marketing, PR, and communications assistant. And I worked my way up to communications manager. It was about the storytelling. So everything I've done in my career has been, how do I tell stories? How do I tell stories of diverse populations? And I used to work for a faith-based nonprofit media production company. And so I got to see how it was to get press for our TV shows, our documentaries. I was working with publicists. I was working with media on a day-to-day basis. And so in 2010, I actually was laid off. But it was a great thing that happened to me because I started my first tech company, Computable. And Computable was a media marketplace to match media journalists with entrepreneurs. And I used my experience as a publicist to create that platform. I built out the first version, I bootstrapped it. I got users, and then with the users came feedback, and I built out the second version of that platform, but I failed in fundraising. So I did that for about 3 years, and then after that, I went back to doing marketing, PR, and communications for NeighborWorks America, which is a community development organization out of DC with offices in New York City and Boston. And again, it was storytelling from a nonprofit perspective and specifically affordable housing. But I knew I was an entrepreneur at heart and I wanted to work with entrepreneurs. And so NYU gave me my first shot of designing programs for student entrepreneurs and faculty at the NYU Entrepreneurial Institute, where I was a program manager of the Blackstone Launchpad program. And I launched that program to create coaching opportunities for students. Over 10,000 students and faculty have engaged in programming, from coaching, from the NYU Startup School to Ignite fellowship programs. So I built out a lot of entrepreneurial training programs at NYU. Took that over to New York Designs, which is part of the LaGuardia Community College Research Foundation of New York City, of CUNY. And I built out emerging manufacturing accelerators and incubators there prior to the pandemic. But the pandemic happened and I was just seeking something new. I was like, I got marketing, PR, communications. I love storytelling. I love working with entrepreneurs and building out programs to train entrepreneurs and get them to launch and scale. However, I specifically wanted to work with Black and Brown. And it was the end of May, I learned about what was going on here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And as a New Yorker, born and raised New Yorker from Queens, I never thought I would leave New York City again after going to college in Delaware. But Tulsa has so much magic, and it really spoke to me. And I wanted to be here. I wanted to be part of these pioneering efforts, connecting Black and Brown entrepreneurs to the resources that I had been barred from myself when I was launching Computable in the early days of New York City's Tech Alley. And so I wanted to use all my experiences, the experiences that I've learned myself and then of others, and I wanted to take that to create programming for Black and Brown. And so now I'm here in Tulsa doing just that.
Well, yes, it sounds like you had a very swerving path to get to where you are now.
Path. Candyland.
Yes.
It was a very
Candyland. That's a good one. Well, it seems fitting that you are here speaking to us today because the theme for Women's History Month this year is celebrating women who tell our stories.
Yes.
And that seems to have been a driving force for you throughout your career. Now, I'm curious how you became interested in communications and community engagement and how you linked that to telling our stories.
Yes, great questions. Well, from communications, definitely from growing up in Queens, and I grew up in Laurelton, Queens. Shout out to Laurelton, South East Jamaica, Queens. But one of the things is that I was actually very lucky to grow up in a middle income neighborhood, and I got to see Black wealth in action. I got to see within my block us telling our stories. However, when I got out of my block, out of Laurelton, and went to college and in other areas, I wasn't seeing Black stories being told. I wasn't seeing just stories of, I grew up in a very religious household, and those are stories I was interested in telling. But I wasn't finding the outlets. I wasn't finding the publications back in the day, before apps were a thing. I wasn't finding the applications or the podcasts, or just, I wasn't finding me in the stories. And so I wanted to make sure that Black and Brown we have our stories told in every aspect of our lives. And so from the communication standpoint, I know that when there's more of us just coming together, gathering and telling our stories, the power that we can do, how much change that we can affect. So that's always been one of the driving forces for my communication side of my background. And so when we're telling those stories, when more people see it, are the resources coming? And yes, they do. And so it's like, you need that groundswell of support, but it starts with us. And so I want to always make sure that we create platforms for Black and Brown to tell those stories. Now, from community engagement side of that, again, goes back to my upbringing in Queens, very rooted in community. They knew what you were doing. You on the block, they knew what grade you had before you knew what grade you had. They knew what time you had to be in the house before you knew what time you had to be in the house. However, growing up in a very strong community, I actually lost some of that as I got a little older and decentralized in my career. And so when I started working for NeighborWorks America and traveling around the Northeast from DC to Maine, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands, I just got to see different communities in action, how community pride, how people come together to make sure that they have the resources in their community, whether it's from affordable housing, financial literacy, down to education, and even down to helping small businesses. That's a lot of the work that I did at NeighborWorks America, and it's something that I've always made sure I brought into all the jobs that I've had in my career thus far, is making sure that we create strong ties to our community, and that also lends itself to the storytelling. And so everyone in here is a creator. Everyone has a story to tell. Everyone has a platform. We all use some type of social media or some type of application, or if you are an entrepreneur, you also have those outlets in the media and the platforms to do so. And so by putting our stories out there, we're already a community, so let's continue to do that more.
So it sounds like you've had a focus on telling stories, developing resources for the community, and tying it all to our community.
Yes.
And with that in mind, can you talk about Blackstone Launchpad that you created at NYU and what that is and how you came up with that idea?
Yes, so the Blackstone Launchpad program was made possible through a $1 million grant from the Blackstone Charitable Foundation. And with that $1 million grant over 3 years, the focus of that program was to create access on campus to not only for entrepreneurs and for faculty, but to create access to an ecosystem of support. So an entrepreneurial ecosystem not just needs the entrepreneurs, it needs investors and mentors and the resources, but it just also just needs people organizing it, facilitating it, and coordinating it, and putting it together. And so that's why I was hired as the Blackstone Launchpad program manager to create that ecosystem on campus for support for student entrepreneurs and faculty entrepreneurs. So when I first was hired, one of the things that I kept hearing was, I don't know where to go. As one thing we always see, there's so many business resources, but people don't know how to access them or take advantage of them, or sometimes how is it going to help them in the long run? And so when I first started designing programs, it's all about listening to your customers. And that is something that I preach in everything that we do. Listen to your customers because they tell you what they need. And when you can learn to listen to the patterns of what you're hearing, then it's the best way to create the programs. Just like as an entrepreneur, to create the best product or service, you need to listen to your customers, your clients, and what they're telling you and what they need. And so after the first 6 months of being the Blackstone program, Launchpad program manager, I started to create more mentorship opportunities where people can come in and get coaching, but a network of support. So we're not just going to leave you, just come in for coaching, but after you've done some coaching, come in for more of a cohort-based community program. So that ties back to community. And I created the Ignite Fellowships, specifically to help guide people through a process of launching and scaling their companies. So that after that, they can go to the NYU's Startup Accelerator program. So everything that I created at the Blackstone Launchpad was resources to help them scale up their companies, to get, whether it was capital, mentorship, finding co-founders. Finding co-founders is always hard for entrepreneurs and even faculty too. And so learning how to put it all together, learning what a business model is, and then actually learning how to experiment and test before you put a whole app together, and because maybe people don't want to use it or don't need it. And so all the programs that we created was through that network of support. Go from one program to the next program to the next program until you can fly on your own, and you can put your product in the market, revenue generation or hiring, whatever their milestones or goals were. I was creating that program and that network of support to kind of shepherd them through the system.
Well, so that's very interesting, because it sounds like all of the work that you did, at least certainly after college, was very New York focused.
Very New York focused. Yeah.
So,
I'm telling you, I didn't think I was going to leave New York. I was thought I was going to be in New York City forever.
so what made you decide to move to Tulsa?
Yeah, great question. So I was working at New York Designs during the pandemic. And so New York Designs is a manufacturing incubator for emerging manufacturing startups. It's a 30,000 square foot space and a 5,000 square foot maker space. And so that is located inside LaGuardia Community College. And it's also a part of the Small Business Development Center in the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program. So LaGuardia, a lot of people didn't know, has like this very vibrant, robust small business network. However, as a manufacturing incubator, the pandemic kind of killed us. You know, people weren't coming in, you know, a lot of manufacturing companies, their supply chain was ruined, was, you know, decimated. And so I was just looking for the next opportunity. I loved the work that I was doing in New York City, but I was just feeling I wanted to do something completely new, completely different, something that I've never done before. And so, and that's usually like the ethos in my life, just do new things, do different things all the time. And so it was just one morning, woke up and just had the idea in my head. It was like, you're going to start the summer off in New York City, and then you're going to end it in a new city. And so that was May 27, 2021. 3 days later, I found out about building Tulsa because it was the 100-year centennial. And so, you know, I'm all into, you know, spirituality and synchronicities and how things work out. And so then on May 30th, I found out about building Tulsa, applied for the job, applied for a few other positions around the country, but nothing spoke to me like Tulsa. And went through the interview process. They brought me to Tulsa the end of June. And I'm sitting here thinking there's just like tumbleweeds and dust, like a dust bowl, just there's going to be horses and buggies and carriages all up and through Tulsa. Not the thing. And when I came here, I was like, it was the best experience that I had in my entire life. I love to travel. I've been to a lot of cities and states. I've been out the country, but it was something about Tulsa and the magic here that I was like, yes, I need to be a part of it. And I could smell it, I could feel it, I could taste it, all within just the 2 days that I was here for my Build in Tulsa interviews. And so after that, it was just like a no-brainer. I met so many entrepreneurs. I met investors. I met mentors. There's no place like Tulsa where we have this network of support from the philanthropic community, what the George Kaiser Family Foundation has done here and the Charles Sussman Family Foundation are doing here. So we have a lot of local players that really truly care about not only innovation and entrepreneurship, but the growth of Black wealth creation, and then also sustainability of that Black wealth. And so with all the conversations and just feeling the energy of the city, it was a no-brainer to take the position and move to Tulsa. And of course, you know, some people in my family was like, oh, she's gonna be back here. She's gonna be back here in a few months. And now we're back, we're coming up to 2 years, and I have no intention to leave. I love everything that we do here at Build in Tulsa. I love my colleagues, I love my community. I love the George Kaiser Family Foundation, the Charles Sussman Family Foundation, the Crest Family Foundation. I love our partners at Atento Capital, Act House, the Build in Tulsa TechStars Accelerator, and Lightship. We just have so many partners here. And I know we don't have enough time to go through it all, but when I say that I truly have felt really supported in this community, I am truly supported in this community. We support our entrepreneurs, they support us, and I've never experienced it anywhere else like Tulsa.
Wow. So can you tell us, since Tulsa and Build in Tulsa seem to have won your heart, can you tell us a little bit about Build in Tulsa, what it is, what your goals and mission are, and how does it help the community?
Yes.
And keep in mind, we are a tech agency, so it
Mhm.
would be very interesting to hear if there's any sort of connection or synergy to technology.
Oh, yes, deep synergy. So the whole goal of Building Tulsa is to help Black and Brown entrepreneurs create multi-generational wealth. We do that by connecting these entrepreneurs to a vibrant network of accelerators, access to direct financial assistance, and social capital to mentorship. So we partner with 3 accelerator programs. There are focused on technology, tech-enabled startups, and also consumer product goods startups, CPG companies. So we partner with the Build in Tulsa TechStars Accelerator. So we do have a TechStars program here that focuses on more mature pre-seed to seed stage tech companies, AI, Web3, fintech, crypto, climate tech, sustainability, kind of runs the gamut of some of the companies that you would see in the Build in Tulsa TechStars Accelerator. We also have the Act House Act Tulsa Accelerator Program, which focuses on, it's a 6-month program. It gives $70,000 non-dilutive grant, and it focuses on early stage angel to pre-seed stage companies who are in tech and consumer product goods as well. And then we also partner with Lightship Foundation and Lightship Capital, which is out of Ohio, and they are a nationally recognized Black-led accelerator and venture capital organization. And so these programs, these 3 network accelerator programs are meant to bring Black entrepreneurs to Tulsa and to also uncover Black entrepreneurs and talent here in Tulsa. And what we do is we put them in these accelerator programs. We de-risk their business model. They do get funding and financing while they're in that program. And then the goal is hopefully that they stay in Tulsa and build out their companies, create a headquarters here in Tulsa, hire in Tulsa. So workforce development is a big goal for the entire Build in Tulsa network. And then another goal for this is then also to create that community of entrepreneurs here. So the Tulsa market is very nascent, very new. 2019 is when the George Kaiser Family Foundation and other entities started to put together tech and innovation related programming. And it wasn't really until 2021 when we got our start, when we launched during the Centennial Week, where we started to put all these programs into action. And so our goal over the next 10 years are to create Black unicorns, to create Black millionaires and multimillionaires, and hopefully one day a Black billionaire from out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And outside of our Build in Tulsa network accelerators, we also have other programming to get our entrepreneurs in our community ready for acceleration. So I know we're going to talk about the We Build the Women Entrepreneurs Accelerator Program. It's a new program we just launched this year. It's going to start next month. It is funded by Goldman Sachs, Google, George Kaiser Family Foundation, and Charles Schusseman Family Foundation. And this program will help 8 Black women scale up already existing businesses that are tech-enabled, or CPG related. We are providing them a $25,000 non-dilutive grant. They don't have to pay it back. We're giving them a $3,000 housing stipend to be in the program for 3 months. We are giving them access to childcare or cost of living stipends. And also, which most programs don't do, we're giving them access to a mental health coach while they're in our program, because we know that as a founder, sometimes it can be lonely at the top and you need therapy. And we definitely highly encourage founders to engage in mental health services. We're also providing all the entrepreneurs laptops. We're providing, they can keep it. We're providing Wi-Fi for them. We will pay for their Wi-Fi for 3 months. And we will be connecting them to a network of over 100 mentors and we have other benefits part of this program. But really, this program is meant to help Black women. It's a business accelerator that's holistic. You can't always leave home. You can't go to Silicon Valley or San Francisco as a Black woman. Sometimes you got caregiving duties, you have a child at home, or some other things like finances or job sustainability. So we wanted to create a place-based economic development program through the We Build Accelerator that keeps women in place as they build and scale their companies. And then we also have a host of other programs. We working out here. We working very hard for our Black and brown entrepreneurs.
It sure sounds like it. It sounds like you are all providing wraparound services for
Yes.
the members of the We Build program. Now, are there any other incentives to come to Tulsa or to We Build Tulsa that other people can take advantage of?
Yes. So we also do another program called the Black Venture Summit. And so if we have any investors in the audience, or if anyone knows of any investors, this is an opportunity to connect Black GPs, general partners, with limited partners. So this program is for emerging first-time fund managers or fund managers who are raising fund number 2. We connect them so to have access to raising, just like entrepreneurs typically are barred and have issues accessing venture capital or other forms of investment. General partners who are investors, they experience the same thing. So if you are interested in creating your first investment fund and you're seeking investment, come to Tulsa. We bring in over 25 limited partners to meet with these first-time fund managers. And the goal of that is to create the relationship. So Tulsa is becoming that place where you're a Black and brown investor and you're an LP focused on diversity or have some allocations for diversity, come to Tulsa. We have other programs that if you're not in an accelerator or a Black Venture Summit and you're just interested in learning about the investment opportunities here, we have investment vehicles like Atento Capital. So folks who are interested in being in Tulsa but don't want to go through the accelerator network can pitch as Atento Capital or Cortado Ventures, Mac Ventures, 46 VC. And so there are quite a few other venture firms that are here that are supportive of bringing in entrepreneurs where it makes sense and fits their investment thesis.
Great. Now, for some reason, I remember hearing something about a $10,000 incentive to move to
Yes.
Tulsa. What
Yes,
is
Tulsa
that?
Remote. Yes, that's the Tulsa Remote program. So Tulsa Remote will provide a $10,000 incentive to remote workers who are seeking to uproot and live in Tulsa for a year. And so you have to be a remote worker. You have to qualify under those strict guidelines and criteria. But if you get into the program, you get $10,000 to move here. And you can, people have been using their $10,000 allocation to buy homes. And so not only is it a economic development opportunity to not only just drive the economic activity here, to increase the talent pipeline here in Tulsa through the Tulsa Remote program, but then also too, there's a lot of beautiful homes here. There's a lot of property, lots, land. So if you're interested in truly creating wealth, we know that home ownership is one pathway to that. Then the Tulsa Remote program could be a great opportunity for folks who are looking to maybe buy their first home, looking to relocate, or remote workers and want $10,000.
Wow. So now that's quite an incentive, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
now
You
you've
gotta be
told
here
us
for a year.
there you go. So now you've told us a little bit about what Build in Tulsa does. I'm curious, who is Build in Tulsa? Who are the founders, staff members? Who are the leaders in your organization?
Sure. I will start with our staff and then I'll go to some of our entrepreneurs. So the Build in Tulsa organization is led by Ashley Sims. She is our managing director. And her background has, she was a local news journalist with News 6 for many years, turned fundraiser. So she's been a nonprofit fundraiser and she joined our team to lead our efforts to help build out our strategic partnerships, our fundraising vehicles, and then also to create this network of accelerators and support. Myself, I'm the director of programs, so I create and design our programs. We have a programming manager, Kai Harris, also from New York City. She's from Brooklyn. I know we ain't gonna start the five borough, argument here, but Queens is great, and so, but she's from Brooklyn. And then she's our programming manager, and so she works and supports our Female Founders Pitch Night, our other pitch night competitions. She oversees our Future CEO Camp because we believe in youth entrepreneurship. And so she builds out programming for our youth. We also have our director of marketing events, Sydney Sales, who's originally from New Orleans, but she moved to Las Vegas, but we got her from Las Vegas to Tulsa. And so her role is to create the brand, pump the voice for Build in Tulsa and create some really banging events and opportunities for entrepreneurs, investors, and outside entities that are seeking to do more place-based work here in Tulsa. We have our operations manager, Khadijah Jones, and she keeps us organized. She keeps us together. She is the most organized person that I've ever worked with, and so she really keeps our team running. And we just hired another program manager who will be overseeing the We Build program and working on program design, development, and implementation there. So that's the Build in Tulsa team. So we are a team of 5 right now, but we'll be 6 on Monday. So we're really excited about that. And we are hiring still. So if you're interested in Build in Tulsa jobs, just go to buildintulsa.com, sign up for our newsletter. And whenever we have jobs there, we will be promoting that. Now, the entrepreneurs that we serve, so our primary customer is Black and Brown. However, we don't want to also create barriers for entrepreneurs that have been created for Black and Brown in the past. And so the types of entrepreneurs that we serve are at all stages. So if you have a napkin concept, like I just had this idea, like I said, everyone here is a creator. Everyone here can create a tech company tomorrow. And so we have folks who just like want to figure out what is it that they want to do. Then we have folks who are already at the really early stages. They're at what we call angel to pre-seed stage. So they're just building out their tech. They're doing customer discovery and development. They're working on prototyping. They're working on fundraising and other things like that. Then we have entrepreneurs that are more from the seed, pre-seed to seed stage. So they have product in the market, whether it's tech enabled or CPG. We also serve consultancies. We also have nonprofits in our program, but they're usually at the stage where they have workforce, they have product, and they're just seeking to scale up certain milestones. They're seeking to increase their business. They're maybe applying for a grant with Build in Tulsa, like our Boost Awards program, where we give money to do business development, incorporate your business, or things like that. And then we also work with later stage companies. We work with companies that have 10, 15, 20 employees and are in one of our accelerators, or they just came in through one of our investors into the city, and they're seeking to maybe hire 10 to 20 more employees here. So we truly work with entrepreneurs across the range. So in Tulsa, if you're an entrepreneur, you can come to us at any stage. We can support you. We do business coaching as our intake process. So just go to buildintulsa.com and you can sign up for coaching. And then we also serve investors. We need the investment community here as we are ecosystem builders. Our goal is to create the ecosystem for Black and Brown through the network accelerators, through the financing, and through the mentorship. And so we do serve investors. And so making sure that they have a place at the table here in Tulsa as they fundraise. So when we know that when we're investing in Black and Brown investors, that they can put that back into Black and Brown and underrepresented companies. And then we also serve mentors. We need the mentorship network here too. And so if you're interested in working with any of these types of companies, again, tech enabled or CPG, and any domain experience or expertise is welcomed.
Wow. So I just want to go back to one thing, because I know you mentioned the 6 people who are the leaders in Build in Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
And am I correct that all of you are women?
We are all women. We are a female-led team. You picked that up. Yes.
So this is, I mean, for Women's History Month,
yes,
you are a women's organization that seems to be developing, or rather generating, wealth for Black and Brown communities, but it also sounded like you have some programs that are geared specifically towards women.
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit about how you think your programs will help with the future of Black wealth, brown wealth, and women's wealth, the development of women's wealth?
Yes, and I love that. And let's talk about women's wealth and Black wealth right now. So we have a program called the Female Founders Pitch Night, which we started in November 2021, and is an opportunity for 5 to 6 emerging female-led startups to pitch for $10,000 to build out their company. And so they can pitch for $10,000, $5,000, and $2,500. And so this is an opportunity for them to get trained on how to pitch, but how to do storytelling. So that brings back into storytelling, how to build out a pitch deck. And then also we work with them on just working on the business, working out, building out their prototypes, doing customer discovery and prototyping and things like that. And so that is, we've been excited we've worked with now, I would say, about almost 30 women through this program. And they all have gone on to either be in a TechStart Accelerator, an Act House Accelerator program. Some have now applied for the We Build Accelerator program, which I'll talk about again in a second. And they're just scaling through the network. They're increasing their income. They're increasing their clients and their contracts. And some of them have increased even headcount. by way of doing part-time work, contract work, and some of them are looking to now fully hire their full-time employees, like Dr. Montana Kane with JMC Consulting Firm. She actually was a remote worker. She came in through Tulsa Remote, and she was in our space, Camp 2, which is part of the 36 Degrees Network. And she just saw all these entrepreneurs in play, and she was like, I want to be an entrepreneur. So she quit her job and became an entrepreneur. And she started her company right from outside her office. And a year later, she's generating over 6 figures in revenue already. And she has 7 part-time employees. And so that's definitely a win for her, a win for women's wealth, a win for Black wealth, and a win for Tulsa. And so she was a female pitch night winner. And she's also was in our program, like Launchpad program, which helps women get into accelerators, or just helps entrepreneurs get into accelerators. But specifically, we have a lot of women in that program who are getting into accelerators. So we are love the Female Founders Pitch Night, and it is actually open to folks not in Tulsa. You just got to get to Tulsa. So if you want to be in Female Founders Pitch Night, you can apply. You just got to fly yourself to Tulsa. You can be in the pitch competition. And then we do have the women entrepreneurs accelerator program, the We Build program. That's the program that will give you $25,000. You have to be in Tulsa for 3 months for that program. So we're actually launching our first cohort on April 26th. And so the second cohort will be in 2024. So again, just follow Build in Tulsa for that program. But our goals for the We Build program is to create Black wealth, is to create women's wealth. And so what we've done in the application process thus far is get a snapshot of where they are today. And then whomever gets into the program, we're going to follow their trajectory, not only in the program, but at least 1 year after the program to see how they've done. Did they increase their own personal income? Did they increase revenue for their company? Did they finally become profitable? And did they hire? Did they establish their own headquarters? So it's things like that. And we know that those are some of the pillars to Black wealth. And other things that other programs don't necessarily track is like, did they buy a home? Our We Build program is going to come with home buyer education workshop courses. So from that, were they able to purchase their first home? Were they able to qualify for better loans? Because we're also going to be partnering with Bright Up out of New York City on financial literacy training. And so they will be providing not only personal income wealth creation, but how do you manage your business wealth as well? We're also working with a local accountant, Cindy McGee with Next Gen Finances. And she'll be building out accounting workshops for our women in our accelerator program so that they're managing the money the right way, and that they're seeing the money, and that they know how to spend their $25,000 non-dilutive grant that they'll get in our program. So we have a lot of female power that's organizing the We Build Accelerator, powering the We Build Accelerator through business training and education and workshops. And so from that, hopefully someone buys a home. If not, they just became financially sound. They know what a P&L is. They know how to put a P&L together, because that's also the tenet of wealth creation. You need to know the right documents to be presenting for not only your personal finances, but your professional ones as well.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So it sounds like empowered women empower women.
Empower women, empower women. That's right.
So you talked about some of the programs. Can you specifically, you mentioned these, the Build in Tulsa TechStar Accelerator Program and the Act House Accelerator Program, because you did talk about the We Build program a little bit, but if you could just clarify for everyone what those 2 programs are.
Yes, and so
their
it's actually 3. So I'll talk about Act House. We'll talk about Lightship and TechStars. So Act House is run by Dominic Artis and team, and this program is a 6-month program in Tulsa. It gives a $70,000 non-dilutive grant, and so the goal, the first 3 months of the program will be around implementation. Like, how do you implement a lot of the work? How do you implement your prototypes? How do you get the design, test it, putting it out into the market? And then after that, after the next 3 months, is more so, how do you get your clients? How do you get revenue? How do you fundraise and things like that? And so the purpose of the Act House program is to get our entrepreneurs prototype ready and into the marketplace, and then testing that marketplace prototype while in the program as well. And so that they do 2 cohorts a year. Their second cohort will, the 5th cohort, they've done 3 cohorts already. Their demo day is coming up next week, and then their 4th cohort starts in April of this year. The 5th one will start in September. or October around. So again, follow our website at buildintulsa.com or our social to learn more when those applications open up. Black and brown companies, tech enabled, and CPG companies are the right spot. And if you're a little earlier in your development process, then the ACT program will be great. Now, if you're a little bit later stage, you already have product in the market, you maybe have some traction, some revenue, maybe fundraised a little bit, maybe less than $1 million, then the TechStars program is the best fit. This program is 3 months. It comes with $120,000, and over the 3 months is all about $120,000 investment. That's equity based. It is an equity based investment. ACT House is non-dilutive, so you do not have to give up any equity in ACT. But in TechStars, yes, it is. TechStars is standard 6%. And so for that 120,000 investment. And with that investment, we hope that the companies that get selected to participate put that all into building out their tech. TechStars is all tech. So there are no CPG companies, but there's hardware companies with a tech component, a hardware software play. So if that's the best fit, then TechStars is the best program. And again, that is 3 months. And TechStars runs, as of right now, 1 cohort a year. And the next cohort is getting ready to start in May of this year. And then the third program is the Lightship Foundation Bootcamp and Accelerator. So the Lightship works with companies that are typically generating $500,000 to over $1 million in revenue. Dispersed throughout the Midwest. They have a focus on investing in underrepresented founders in Midwestern states and Miami as well. And so specifically for their Tulsa-based program, their boot camps are free, and it's all about business modeling and investment readiness. If you get into their accelerator program, their accelerator comes with an investment up to $500,000, $500,000, and access to the Lightship network. And so Lightship is a true venture capital firm. And so it would have to go through their due diligence and their other processes. However, they focus on underrepresented in founders and underrepresented in the Midwest.
Now, someone actually in the chat asked whether we can provide the link to these programs. Mm-hmm. And is it on the buildintulsa.com website?
Yes, all of our programs are listed on buildintulsa.com.
Okay, great.
And so there's a programming tab, and when you click the programming tab, you can see the Build in Tulsa Network accelerators, and then you will also find other programs that we are currently have in motion.
Great, great. Now, you have mentioned partnerships, mm-hmm. and it's my understanding that Build in Tulsa recently signed created a partnership with the Brain Trust Founders Studio. Mm-hmm. And that is the single largest platform dedicated to Black founders of beauty and wellness companies.
Yes.
Why did that happen? But also, what are some of the other partnerships that Build in Tulsa works with?
Yeah, so I'll talk about the Brain Trust Founder Partnership. So the name of the program is called Build Black Beauty and Wellness in Tulsa. So it's called B3. And we will be working with the Brain Trust Founders Studio Network to not only bring beauty and wellness founders here to Tulsa to be able to accelerate their work. We're also creating opportunities for Tulsans to be part of their network so that they can scale their companies. So candle companies, beauty and wellness, so it could be oil. We have wig companies, skincare companies, hair accessory companies, things like that can all apply to be part of the B3 network. And we'll be having quarterly dinners. We will be having specific pitch competitions for consumer product good companies in partnership with B3. And so the reason why we brought this program here is because there's a lot of Black beauty and wellness businesses here in Tulsa. We thought that when we first started doing the work, it was like, it's all tech. And so as we started doing our customer discovery and listening to our clients and our customers, we learned that no, it's actually beauty and wellness is actually the second top tier types of companies that you will find in Tulsa. And so we needed programming. We needed an opportunity to engage their work. Because again, we were primarily funded and launched our company thinking it was tech and tech-enabled companies. And we found something even greater. And going back to the history of Black Wall Street, when you think about Madam C.J. Walker had a shop here, Tulsa is known for its beauty and wellness businesses, and we see them a lot, and they're actually pretty dope and great companies. And so we wanted to be able to provide that platform for them, and then to also bring companies here. So it was a mutual effort to make sure that their founders get served here in Tulsa since we have the resources. The George Kaiser Family Foundation has a big play for manufacturing-based companies. And so with that, you'll find a lot of beauty and wellness in the CPG realm, need manufacturing. So let's onshore it here and let's do manufacturing right here out of Tulsa. We have the space. And so this program and this partnership will hopefully drive more companies over to manufacturing here in Tulsa through beauty and wellness.
Wow. So,
Mhm.
go ahead.
Oh, go for it.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
And then, and other partners, I mean, we, like Goldman Sachs is a partner. They're a sponsor of our We Build Accelerator program. Google it's donated money and is a partner of our We Build program. We've also partnered with Village Capital in the past. We were a recipient of their accelerator program, and we provide them with support. We also partner with Visible Hands. It is a virtual accelerator out of New York City, run by Daniel Achapong and Justin Kang. And their goal is to provide acceleration for underrepresented founders, and they invest in those companies as well as accelerate them too. And they do a program here, the first week of their accelerator in Tulsa. And so if you're underrepresented founder and you're interested in a virtual accelerator, check out Visible Hands.
So can you tell us a little bit about, you just mentioned underrepresented founders, and you've also indicated that Build in Tulsa primarily focuses on Black and Brown entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
Are there other groups that Build in Tulsa includes, and can you explain what you mean by underrepresented founders?
Great question. So underrepresented founders, we consider that Black, Brown, and Native American as our primary targets that we serve. This is Oklahoma, and so the Native population is deep here, and so we want to make sure that they are incorporated into our programming. So we consider that underrepresented. Also, women entrepreneurs, especially Black women entrepreneurs, who have typically been denied or barred access to other programs or resources or services, we would consider underrepresented. And then also based off location, you know, we have here in Tulsa, we have a community in North Tulsa, and we want to make sure that our North Tulsans, which was after the race massacre where people were kind of driven up to and kind of spread out as well, there's a lot of Black-owned businesses in North Tulsa. And so, however, it was very much of an untapped market too. And so we also look at underrepresented based off location and geography as well.
Okay. And so, as you mentioned, women are included in that, and that's all women.
That as well. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, Build in Tulsa is trying to create another Black Wall Street, right?
Yes.
But it sounds like you are very tech and now Black beauty business focused.
Yes.
Are you open to other things, or or do you see that as the future of creating another Black Wall Street or generational wealth for underrepresented and groups of color and also women?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say two things. You know, we support entrepreneurship at any level. Whether you just want to start a nonprofit, you want to create a strategic consultancy agency, a recruiting firm, you want to start a car wash, we're going to support you. We're going to help you. We're going to connect you with the right resources. However, yes, we are primarily focused on Black and Brown in tech and innovation industries. And we know that that is the fastest way to create wealth today. And so, and through beauty and wellness, you know, 80%, we corner 80% of the market for beauty and wellness, you know, in terms of the spending. And so, well, let's also generate some wealth off of it too. Let's not just spend, let's generate wealth. And so we know that those are the areas that you can potentially grow the fastest in terms of wealth creation. And so that's why we focus on those areas right now. But we know that a car wash can scale to be a franchise. We know that a restaurant can scale to be a franchise too. A consultancy could be the next Deloitte for all we know, right? And so we want to be able to support any type of business at any stage, but we will always primarily serve first tech-enabled and CPG.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the innovative entrepreneurial ideas that you've seen in Build in Tulsa from your tech-enabled and CPG entrepreneurs?
So I'm going to talk about Bottled Learning, which is run by Edna Martinson and Clarence Tan. So they're one of the ones that's also kind of scaled through the Build in Tulsa network as we talk about that network of support. Edna and Clarence came to Tulsa through Atento Capital, which is the local investment firm, but they also got into not only the Lightship Boot Camp and were invested in through Lightship Capital, but they also were in the ACT House program and received training through that program and also an investment of the $70,000 for that program. Now, they were in the first cohort of that, which launched in 2021. And so nearly 2 years later, they have a team of 8 to 10 staff members. They have over 1 million users on their platform. So Bottle Learning creates opportunities for teachers to connect in the classroom with their students in through gamified learning, gamified science, math, reading. And so it is focused on supporting teachers and classroom management. And so they were able to scale their platform and then their program through these Tulsa-based resources. We also supported them through providing them office space for a year for free. And so them and their staff members were working with us up until recently. Now they've scaled up and moved on because that's what we want them to do. We want them to grow out of our space. So they just recently grew out of our space. So Bottle Learning is a great organization, a great company. Definitely check them out. Especially if there are any teachers in the room and are looking for ways to manage their classroom and make it fun, check out Bottle Learning. And so some other companies that we are truly interested in right now are Kinkofa. So they're out of the ACT House program. They're in cohort 3, and they provide DNA services for Black and Brown. So when you think of the 23andMe, but the 23andMe for Black and Brown, for our roots, for our history. And so right now they launch with a community of folks looking to seek their ancestors as they work on their DNA kits as well. So they joined us in Tulsa this last September. And so they'll be graduating from the ACT House program next week as well. We also had a company called Athletics, also in the ACT House program. And so they've raised over $1 million. They also were in a TechStars program. And their goal is to help college athletes connect to corporate sponsors and recruiters, since now that is legal. And so they took advantage of that market opportunity to work in the sports and media and entertainment realm. And so, and they're really smashing it. And so that's run by Ashton Keys. And he's out fundraising and traveling right now. And so, but he got, some of his start here in Tulsa as well.
And that's a tech platform?
And that is a tech-based platform. It's a matchmaking platform. Yes.
Wow. So on your LinkedIn page, you say mixing media, innovation, education, and technology should be the tagline of my life.
Yeah.
How do all of those things work together? And
Yeah.
how can the integration of media, innovation, education, and technology be utilized to help underserved or marginalized communities?
Yeah, so the media, so that tagline was based off of all the things I've done in my life. So I was like, that's the easiest way to simplify some of the things I've done. But from the media standpoint, goes back into telling our stories again. And so for our Black and Brown, we have great outlets through the BETs and the Essences, and we have the Black Enterprise Daily. We have Mogul Millennial. She's out of Texas. We have a lot of Black outlets, which are great, but we just need allies as well. And so we just making sure that we're telling our stories, that is getting across into all the communities. Because I want even someone in deep in Alabama to know what programs are available to them as entrepreneurs, whether it's in Alabama, whether it's in Tulsa, New York, or wherever. I want our stories to make sure that they're front and center and in the mainstream. So that's where that media piece comes in. But the education, that's the same thing. It's just making sure that we all know how to access these resources, but the education comes down into the training. And so with my whole goal of being a program designer, I do design business education curriculum. And so with the education piece of it is know the terminology, know the keywords. We want our Black and Brown entrepreneurs to be able to speak on a public stage, on a platform, to be able to speak to investors and strategic partners, corporate partners, their clients with the right language. And so, you need to know what a capital table is, what we call a cap table. You need to know what a term sheet is. You need to know what a safe is. And so the terminology is really important. And that's where the media, education, and innovation come into play. And so the more that we have those stories out there, the more training platforms, whether it's through place-based programming or online programming, get the education, know how to speak the language. And it's important for everyone because you never know. You might be, people think that starting a tech company is for these 20-year-olds. That's not true. The average age of an entrepreneur, especially a first-time entrepreneur, is 40. And so, at any stage in your life, you can create a company, but be educated on the terminology And that way, especially for a tech company, sometimes we get taken advantage of because we don't know, we didn't have access to it. That's why STEM education or STEAM education is really important as well. And so that's why we partner with Urban Coders Guild here in Tulsa. They do STEM-based education. They do coding boot camps in schools throughout the entire year. We partner with Holberton School, which is also here in Tulsa, and they do coding and training boot camps as well. And so education, educate yourself. Even if you're not going to be a founder tomorrow, again, like I said, you could be a founder next year. So the education piece is something that we truly encourage everyone to take advantage of. And that's just my life story. That's what I love to do. I love to educate as well. I am also an adjunct professor too.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's
why I
funny
talk a lot.
because you've talked a lot about Build in Tulsa, but
Yeah.
I want to know what you do there. What's
Mhm.
the favorite aspect of your job and what
Mhm.
you wish you could do more of? And then since we're actually coming close to the end of our presentation, can you also tell everyone how they can be involved in support organizations such
Yeah.
as Build in Tulsa here in New York City?
Yeah. So I'll start with of what I love about my job. So what I do is so on a day-to-day basis, I coach entrepreneurs, I listen to entrepreneurs, and I design curriculum or programs in coordination with our program manager to meet those needs. So I spend a lot of time in meetings, as my team will see, with entrepreneurs, with investors, and also with certain community members too, just kind of learning what those needs are, seeing what's going on in ecosystems across the country, and making sure that our education and our terminology and everything that we're doing is on par with what's being done in the Silicon Valley, in New York City, Miami, and making sure we're getting that same level of quality programming here in Tulsa. So that's what I do on a day-to-day, but also my favorite part of the job is just talking to people. I love talking to people. I love hearing what their challenges are. I love hearing their wins. And I just love to just learn. I'm just a life learner. So everything to me is education. And so that's my favorite part of the job, is just being in our community. And that ties back to community engagement. I love our community. Now, if folks are interested in getting involved in building Tulsa from outside of New York City, we need mentors. So if you're interested in providing your domain expertise, sign up on our website. We have a link to sign up for mentorship at buildintulsa.com. If you are an investor, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be black or brown as an investor. We need allies. We need all investors who are interested in the types of companies that we are scaling here in Tulsa. You can also sign up on our website if you're an interested investor. And besides the entrepreneur network, if you're an entrepreneur, you can book a coaching session with one of our coaches. And if you're seeking to learn more about how you can integrate yourself into Tulsa as an entrepreneur, under the programming tab on buildintulsa.com, you can sign up for a coaching session, and you'll hear from we do have Rodney Walton. We have one male business coach on our team. And so Rod would meet with any first-time entrepreneurs that come into the Build in Tulsa network.
So, as my final question, do you have a mentor that you turn to for advice? And what was the best piece of advice that you received?
Yes. Chinadu Ichirio, also out of New York City. We were just talking about how we scale revenue. He's all about generational wealth and creating wealth systems. Chinadu Ichirio, definitely check out his work. So he's one of my mentors, and the best piece of advice that he ever gave me was just make more money, period. And so, and I use that mindset for our working with our investors, as they need to raise money. So raise more money, period. Just make money. Everyone, we're here for wealth creation. So it's all just make money, period.
Wow. Well, that's great. And it sounds like you're helping lots of other people make money as well.
We help another. I can't wait to come back here one day and tell you of all the black and brown millionaires that we've minted in Tulsa. So give us some time. Give us some time, but I hope to be able to tell that story one day.
Well, we are in our final couple of minutes here. So I just want to say thank you so much, Desiree. Thanks for coming here to joining us to celebrate Women's History Month and sharing about Build in Tulsa and your experience. We appreciate all that you've done. Your experience, insights, and information have been amazing. And your commitment to addressing barriers faced by women, Black entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs of color, developing all of those groups and creating a technology-based community of entrepreneurs who, as you say, in the spirit of Black Wall Street, are working together to achieve excellence. That's
right.
just wonderful. Your vision and commitment to using technology and Black beauty business
Black beauty.
to create this generational wealth is amazing. So thank you for all the work that you do.
Thank you so much, Janine. Thank you so much to the entire team. And thank you so much to everyone who joined us on our webinar today. I had a great time. And find me on LinkedIn if you have any more questions. Just Desiree Frieson on LinkedIn.
Wonderful. And I just want to make one quick announcement for the OTI team. This was the first of our Women's History Month Lunchtime Speaker Series. We have 2 more next week. On March 30th from 1 to 2 p.m., we will have Lisa Galopter, who is the CEO and founder of Techquitable and was President Obama's former Chief Digital Technology Officer during his term. And on March 31st from 1 to 2 p.m., we have Dr. Tarika Barrett from Girls Who Code, and that will be both in person and on WebEx. So hopefully you will join us for those as well. And thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Desiree. We appreciate it. And good luck with building Tulsa.
Thank you so much. Have a great one.
Take care.